Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name's Dennis Zen. In studio, I'm joined by
Josh Weyers.
And through the magic of Skype, we've got Caboose. Caboose, how you doing?
Doing good. Happy to be back, especially obviously for the launch of Borderlands 3 and ready to talk about it.
Yeah, sure. Definitely going to talk about main topic here today. Yesterday was National Video Games Day.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yes.
Today's Friday, Thursday, 9/12. Later, we'll kind of talk about some of our favorite games of all time in honor of National Video Games Day, but we'll do that after. When we usually do our Twitter questions portion, we'll do that instead. So let's get started with it. Borderlands 3, the big game, one of the big AAA titles.
Right.
Came out this year. I know, Caboose, you've been pumped for it. You've been doing a lot of previews, a lot of hands-on. You came to an event here. You saw it at E3.
Yes.
I think out of us three, you're the only one who's played the new one so far. Like, what are your impressions so far, and how far have you gotten?
Okay, so I've had two playthroughs that I've been playing. My first playthrough is the one that I played a majority of last night. Got to Chapter 9. Sunk a lot of hours into it, got to like level 17 or 18 on my character. I was playing Amara. And then earlier this morning, I was playing as Flack, the homeless robot, as it were. And I didn't get too far. But either way, like I put quite a bit of hours into the game. And I have a lot of positives, but I do actually have some negatives, which honestly, some of these negatives have really bugged me with the game, which upsets me to say. So to get right into it, the things that I like, it's more Borderlands. You know, if you're familiar with the franchise, you're gonna jump into this and feel the muscle memory, and everything's gonna be really familiar, and you're gonna enjoy your time playing the game. A lot of quality of life fixes, so you know you can climb around walls now. There's the sliding and everything. The map system is great. You know, figuring out where you gotta go is not a chore anymore. Like you look at the map. It's got the verticality to it as well, so you know, okay, that's how I get to that objective. That's how I get to that checkpoint. So that stuff is great. The guns are awesome. I really like some of the style of weapons in this game this time around. Some of them feel a little more realistic. Some of them are goofy in a really great way. And overall, some of the guns that have the crazier abilities, like, you know, guns with legs and stuff, that is amazing. It lives up.
I was gonna ask, have you bumped into any of those yet?
Yes. There was one legendary that a friend of mine passed on to me that does that, and it's awesome.
Sweet. That's cool.
So much fun. And then, you know, if you're a fan of Borderlands as well, you know that there's a lot of stuff that you can do in terms of farming for loot. So you can go back if there's a boss that you want a specific weapon off of, you can go back and kill them multiple times over and over and over until you hopefully get that legendary weapon. Legendaries themselves, when they drop, are like, you really can see how awesome it is this time around versus just seeing a little orange blip and that's it. No, like it's shiny. And I do like the cooperative play. I like that there are two modes there. You can switch between playing, you know, so that everyone has a separate loot pile and people who join your game are scaled to your level. Or you can just play classic Borderlands where none of the scaling is there and it's one loot pile, so whoever picks up that weapon first is the one that gets it. I will be doing a playthrough with my friends with that mode on because, I mean, classic Borderlands, I think it's a lot of fun to get a little more competitive.
I've always enjoyed the loot splitting that they offered in the later games just to avoid all the conflict.
Yes. I think that's fine. You know, if you want to play it that way, I think it's okay. And it also actually, it's pretty good to have the loot split because sometimes your friend can find a piece of loot, like a class mod for your character that you didn't see. Then they can pick it up and drop it for you. So I think that's
pretty cool.
Stuff like that is great. The story mode so far seems fine. And I guess, like, to transition into some of my negatives, I don't care too much about the villains.
Yeah, I've heard that they're quite boring.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know. It feels like they're trying too hard to be comedic, and it's almost like, not necessarily like they're trying to copy Handsome Jack, but they want to replicate the success of that villain in the
which is so difficult. That character was so incredibly well made. His arc was beautiful as well.
And you know, it's unfortunate that they used so much of Handsome Jack and Tails from the Borderlands, because I felt if they didn't, they could have brought him back for this game in some way, and maybe it would have elevated it a little bit. But he's great in Tails from the Borderlands, so that stuff's great. And I mean, speaking of Tails, like some of those characters return in this game too, which I love. You know, I'm a huge fan of Tales from the Borderlands. One of my favorite games, definitely my favorite Telltale game. So seeing those characters cross over here is awesome. But one major issue with Borderlands 3 that I'm having is the menu system and going between the map to the different missions that you can select to selecting or equipping different weapons to your character. It's really slow. I don't know what's going on there, but my goodness, every time my friend gets a new weapon, he'll say this every single time. He's like, hold on, I got to equip a new weapon, so give me about 3 years. And like, I know we're just kidding around, but it really takes a long time to open up your menu and like equip different weapons. I'm playing on the Xbox One X. Granted, I'm not playing on PC. I don't know what the experience is like there.
I was about to ask.
But I'm playing on the next best thing. So the fact that it's still running as not great as it is pretty rough. And I have been running into a couple of frame stutters and some bugs, some glitches here and there. Not too many of them game breaking. One instance I did have where the game completely froze on me, and I waited it out for a good 5 minutes until it kicked my friends out and then finally started working again.
That's a little worrying.
Yeah, so there's been a couple of issues. I do like, though, and I noticed that I think this is only available if you have an Xbox One X. You can choose whether or not you want the game to prioritize the resolution or the performance. And I'd highly recommend, if that option is available to you, to select performance. You will notice the world of difference. You don't need the graphics to look incredible. It's a cel-shaded game. It's not going to look insane no matter what. But I don't think that option is available on an Xbox One S or a normal Xbox One. I don't know for sure. All I know is
it's probably available for the PS4 Pro, though.
Right. Yeah. Right, I'm not sure. Yeah. All I know is like the group that I was playing with, I had an Xbox One X. Some of them did not, and they were saying that option is just not there for me at all. So it was great that I could choose that to choose the prioritization of performance, because it allowed the game to run silky smooth, 60 FPS. Everything was running great, but running through those menus is, oh my god, it sucks, because you get a legendary weapon and you should be excited to go check it out and like see, you know, compare it to the current weapon you have equipped. But it's like every time I get a new weapon that I want to, you know, use, I'm like, oh god, I gotta go through this snooze fest of cycling through the menus to try and just see the weapon.
Which must really suck when you're playing with friends, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta hold up everyone.
Yeah, it's very, very annoying. But I mean, maybe that's stuff that will get fixed. Maybe that's just, you know, over time, patches, updates added to the game. I hope so, at least. Because if it's something that just exists in the game forever, it's something that will quite honestly make me get sick of the game. Like, it's that annoing to me.
Well, they'll definitely fix it then, especially if enough people are having that problem, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's more than enough reason for me to not want to play with friends. Well, what are the other worlds like, by the way?
Oh, really, really cool. A lot of variety there. This is like the most unique looking Borderlands game, where they finally, like, they got to step off of Pandora and just go nuts. You know, it reminds me of the DLC from Borderlands 2, where it's like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
Because that was like the first time they really got to create brand new environments that didn't necessarily have to reflect what Pandora was like, but the imagination of a child, essentially. And you get that as well in Borderlands 3 with these different planets. You know, the Maliwan planet looks so crazy.
Is there like different gravity for any of the planets? Because that was one of my favorite things about the pre-sequel, was that you could go to the moon, and then the low gravity was so much fun to play around with.
There is one planet that you can go on, at least as far as I've gotten in the game, the planet that I reached. The third planet that I reached, it does have that kind of zero gravity effect, which I thought was cool.
Did they? Do you know if they ended up bringing back the oxygen tanks?
No, that wasn't. None of that was.
Nah, man. I enjoyed that in the pre-sequel. It was like a thing where you could get abilities for it as well, where you could like expend oxygen to like do like a ground pound kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
There is like a ground pound type of move for each character.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, there could be a planet that I reach later in the game, or that we'll see later in the game, that does have that, you know, the oxygen tanks and the whole pre-sequel vibe. But as far as I know right now, the one planet that did have some zero G, It didn't have any of the other pre-sequel stuff to it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'd imagine with the different worlds, like that adds like a lot of room for DLC. You know, they can just add more worlds and stuff, which is cool.
The possibilities are pretty endless there. And yeah, I mean, the story, like, although I'm not the biggest fan of the villains, it's still fun, you know, like it's still cool to be interacting with a lot of the characters. And overall, my experience with Borderlands 3 is very positive. There are just some issues that I really wish I wouldn't have run into that have been kind of taking back from my experience with the game and killing a bit of the hype that I've had for it.
How is the co-op play? Are you playing online co-op like with 3 other people, 2 other people?
So last night, a majority of my playthrough was with 2 other people, and then tonight I will be playing with a full squad of 4. But the co-op's great. I
Smooth.
mean, you know, everyone jumping in, using their abilities. I think one thing that my friends and myself have noticed that was a little difficult was when your teammate goes down, like if they get knocked down, it's not very easy to notice. Like there's no real indicator on your screen. You kind of have to look in that direction.
Besides your friend yelling, "I'm down, I'm down."
But you want to know where he's down, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that was one of the issues that we were running into. We barely revived each other when we go down. We're always relying on getting the second wind.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's still really fun. It's still really fun playing with friends. We've been having a blast with it, and we've been playing just the normal cooperative mode. So the loot pool is separated, and like I said, it's cool that a friend of mine can find a weapon. Even let's say, you know, they get like a duplicate legendary. They're like, well, I already have one, and I didn't find that on my loot pool, so they can take it and then drop it for me. So I think that stuff is really great.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. How's the missions? Because I've heard that the missions can be quite tedious. Like they're very errand running, a lot of backtracking.
Yeah, there is a lot of go here, get that kind of thing. But it's still, you know, I mean, it's nothing different than what you'd come to expect from a Borderlands game. So if you're already familiar with how these missions play out in the previous 2 and the pre-sequel, then it's nothing too groundbreaking. But there are some really epic missions. There are some crazy set pieces, some pretty intense boss fights that I've already encountered. But again, I don't even think, even though I'm on Chapter 9, even though I'm like almost level 20, I still don't think I'm very far into the game. At least it feels that way. So I'm hoping
what's the level cap?
End quicker than I expect, and I'm let down by that.
What's the level cap? Do you know?
I'm not entirely sure, actually. I think you get a total of 48 skills to spend, so I'm assuming it's level 50.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I don't have a guaranteed number.
You haven't played any competitive online yet?
No, none of that
not
yet.
Okay.
We're gonna run through, my group and I. We're gonna run through our normal playthrough first, just beat the game.
Yeah.
And then we might do a competitive playthrough on like a harder difficulty.
Cool. And Josh, you're gonna pick up this game
probably either Sunday or Monday. So I'll be talking about it next week for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited to play this. It's one of the games that I was most excited for to be releasing at the end of this year, for sure.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up finishing Control, and then when I'm done with that, then I might hop over to Borderlands 3.
Yeah, a couple of the other things we didn't mention. I don't know if we mentioned this in some of the previous podcasts, but I think it's quite cool that Gearbox released cosplay guides on the website for all the characters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you can like follow the exact cosplay guide on their website, which they know that's a big part of their following as well, all the cosplaying and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I've seen online the reviews have been pretty positive. I mean, there's been a few, not like super negative, but mention more of like, okay, it's more of the same.
Yeah,
but not anything
much
new to it.
Right. Which
is cool, I guess. I mean, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted another Borderlands game. I just wanted different guns, different characters. I'm not even that bothered about the story, to be honest. For me, I love looter shooters, you know, or any kind of looter game where I love grinding, man. Like, I couldn't care much about the story. Just let me like mow down enemies for an hour or 2 and get new weapons. That's all I want, and that's what this game is. So I know I'm gonna get what I want.
I mean, yeah, that's essentially like, I remember back when Borderlands 3 was revealed, like back at PAX East earlier this year, I was like super excited about it. And one person replied, because I tweeted, I was like, Borderlands 3 is exactly what I wanted it to be, or it looks like it's exactly what I wanted it to be. And someone replied to me like, just more Borderlands? And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I really wanted. I've waited, it's been 7 years? How long since Borderlands 2? And then obviously, we had
been a while.
Mm-hmm.
The
pre-sequel.
It's been a while since a brand new Borderlands game. So just give me more Borderlands.
Wasn't the Borderlands 2 was on the last generation, right?
Yeah.
This is the first one for, not counting the remasters.
This would be the first one for technically this generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I had Borderlands 1 and 2 on the Xbox 360.
I think the pre-sequel was also previous on
was it? I didn't get
PS3.
that one.
I don't think the pre-sequel was. I mean, I know you can get the remaster, but I don't know if the pre-sequel was on PS4. Well, I do get the other side of the story why people do want some new elements, because at least when Borderlands 2 is my favorite game out of the entire series, the one I played the most. But I do like some of the newer things that they added in the pre-sequel, which it looks like they didn't have in this, like. So I do get what people wanted, some new things, but I mean at the end of the day it was the quality of life aspects that I think that are new and good enough. Sliding, I can't wait to start running around and sliding in the game. It's going to be a much faster way of getting around. How's the pinging, by the way? Because I heard how's the pinging? I heard they added pinging.
Yeah, so you can press up on the D-pad to ping. Me and my group haven't used it too much, although it can be useful every now and then if, let's say, I find, like, a chest in a secret area. Then you can ping it, and my friends can then find it themselves. But, like, we haven't used it casually, like, normally or anything. We haven't frequently been using the pinging, although
it's probably it must be handy for when you're not with friends, you know what I mean? You're playing online with strangers and you're not in the same voice chat. That's got to be very handy.
I'm sure that's where it could be really useful if you're going to jump online with some random people. I'm just excited to like level up a little bit more and go up against the real intense boss, like the raid bosses essentially, and like just farm them for the crazier loot, because that's when Borderlands was at its peak for me when it came to like Borderlands 2. And I mean, I'm sure that's why all these years later that game still had like 10,000-12,000 people playing on Steam. For a single player game, or although it has cooperative elements, but for a non-PvP based game, that's like unheard of to have that much of a player base all those years later.
Do you know if they because I haven't read much about this or even seen it, do you know if they added the epic chest that they had in all the other games where you use the keys?
The golden keys, yes.
Yeah.
That's available on the Sanctuary 3, the big ship that you use to travel to different planets.
Awesome.
It's there, and there are some shift codes already out in the wild to get you some golden keys.
Oh hell
like
yeah!
I have 3 of them right now.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
That's
if you want,
cool.
I'll send you I can DM you some of the codes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm guessing they're probably posting them on Twitter as well.
Yeah. But some of them are like pretty secret and just like they're available through some guides and stuff that are.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm gonna have it on PlayStation, but if you have those codes, definitely send them my way.
Yeah. I will do.
All right, so Borderlands 3, I'm sure we'll be talking more about this in upcoming weeks. Next story, we've got The Witcher Netflix series. The release date has been leaked. It's not 100% confirmed. What happened was on Netflix's Netherlands Facebook and Twitter, they were talking about upcoming release dates of shows. So they were like saying, this is coming. Like, for example, The Crown. And they listed,
50 more sleeps till The Crown or whatever.
So they threw The Witcher in there and they said 97 sleeps more to go. So that would put it at December 17th, which is interesting because I think that's a Tuesday instead of they normally do Friday, because they know once you get off work, you want to go home, watch some stuff. I mean, that's why video games now are like on Fridays as well.
I know Netflix for a while was talking about getting away with binging in general. This series, I'd imagine, is going to be bingeable, though.
I would think so. I mean,
episodes.
They've been doing the non-binging stuff with that like baking show or whatever.
Oh yeah,
like the Great Britain's like. I don't watch those shows, but apparently
they can be quite funny.
I mean, I think with those that makes sense, right? It's a competition show, and so what they want is from week to week, they want people to be talking about the show and then waiting, anticipating,
like
to
tweeting,
the next
Instagramming
one.
about it as well.
So I don't foresee them doing that for, let's say, the upcoming Crown series. Mindhunter, I'm binge watching right now.
I heard great things about Mindhunter.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But so I don't see that happening with those type. But I can see more of these kind of reality competition shows, because competition shows don't really lend themselves to binging, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to know every week, like, everyone comes in and talks about, oh, do you see who got eliminated? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, that person shouldn't have gotten eliminated. Like, I'm a big fan. Right. Me and my girlfriend, we watch MasterChef. And then we get invested with the character, or not characters because they're real people, but the competitors. And then every week we're like, oh my God, who's getting cut this time?
Yeah.
And there's kind of this anticipation built up. It's, you know.
Do you think a third party would step in though at some point in time to, and I don't know who, but just in terms of like for health and safety reasons? Because like I'd imagine, I don't see much of a problem with binge watching, but I can see how it can affect some people badly. Like if they were to release The Witcher on a Tuesday, someone's going to be missing work on Wednesday, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I'll be honest, this is a games podcast. There's a much bigger problem with video game binging than there is with TV binging.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think of that.
There's a bigger high that comes off of video game playing. And we'll talk about, you know, some.
Speaking of video game binging, I was when the first The Last of Us came out. I know so many people that just skipped college that week. They just didn't go to. They were just playing The Last of Us, and they're like, no, I need to finish this game before I do anything else.
So in upcoming, I think in a week or two, we're supposed to interview Felicia Day, if you're familiar with her, and she has a new book coming out, which we're going to interview her for, but she has two books. One is a memoir. One is kind of about unleashing your creativity. And I'm listening to her audiobook about her memoir. And before she did the Guild, she basically admitted like she had a video game addiction to WoW.
I mean, Warcraft. If you watch the Guild, it makes sense.
Yes, exactly. But you know what I mean? Like, it sounded like a big problem. Like, I've had video game addictions before, never to the extent that she had them. But so, anyways.
WoW was a big problem for a lot of people.
Yes, I think the problem is with a game like that, and I'll talk about another game in my top 5 games at the end of the show, is it never ends. When there's a show. So, like, I've done binge video game playing, like with Fallout 3 or like Mass Effect. Eventually the game ends and then you stop because there's no more to do.
And especially back in the day of WoW, it never ended. It was like next expansion, they added another 20 levels, add another 10 levels.
So I think there is an addiction factor with television because I've done it before, binge watched a bunch of shows, but remember shows, they end.
That's true.
Yeah. So, but I mean, what do you guys think? I actually thought it was going to come out earlier just because, you know, we saw some scenes at Comic-Con. The way that they hinted, it sounded more like October, November.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking November time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like a November type of thing that would come out. I mean, December also makes sense to me, I guess, you know.
Yeah, we're coming up on the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
You know, just the holidays in general. So, like, that's the time to binge a show, you know, when it's cold outside. Although you guys are in California, so I don't know if you know what like that whole cold thing means.
No, not yet.
but you know, like you got the holiday, you got a couple weeks off, and just binge a show.
Yeah, I mean, it's also nice to know it's not that far away. You know?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of shows to watch. I was kind of hoping it'd come out a little bit sooner than in December.
I think November would have been a good time.
Yeah, but excited it's coming out. Looking forward to it. All right, next thing. This one I'm excited about. So Control.
Oh yeah.
Control has announced 4 DLC updates. One is going to be free, it's not really.
Well, 2 of them are free, aren't they?
I'm not sure. I thought the first one's free was basically photo mode.
Which, I mean, I haven't played Control, but if I did, I'd be so excited for that.
It's a visually stunning
Every single-player game needs photo mode.
I agree. I spent hours.
It needs it.
I spent hours with Spider-Man, man. I spent hours in photo mode on Spider-Man. It was that much fun.
So I guess Expeditions. That one's gonna be free. So you're right. The first two. One is photo mode, which is not. That's just a feature.
Yeah,
they're letting down. It's probably something they wanted to include in the game, but then they never got to.
I mean, most photo modes that get added later on are free, anyways. Like I know Final Fantasy did that as well.
Yeah. They start charging for photo modes.
Oh my god, that would suck.
What if they started charging for each photo you took?
I mean, we're joking about it. We're joking about it, but like 10, 15 years from now, that happens.
Yeah. Pay
for your screenshots.
So there'll be another DLC called Expeditions. It's, there's a lot of mystery and lore and mythology to this game. When you play the game, you start off, you kind of get thrown into the story. You don't even know what's going on. You're just kind of guessing, just trying to figure a way out. So I'm sure and I'm approaching the end of the game. I'm like second to the last level. I just played one sequence that was amazing. Like this set piece of an action sequence was like one of my favorite ever in video games. So, but even as I'm towards the end, I still don't know half of what's going on, to be honest.
I'm sure they'll tie all the loose ends, or maybe some of them.
No, even Alan Wake didn't tie up all the loose ends. No. It's kind of like this on purpose. It's Sam Lake, who's the creative director and like co-creator writer for these games. I think he's heavily influenced by David Lynch, and so it has that style.
That makes sense.
But then they're going to have 2 paid expansion packs called The Foundation and Awe.
Coming out 2020.
Yeah, which one of them is most interesting is Awe, because they released the artwork for it, and half of it is split with Awe, and the other half is with Alan Wake's cover design on the bottom.
So crossover?
And it looks like the cover, yeah, like the flashlight and everything.
Yes.
I think you can even see him in there.
So they're teasing some sort of crossover link, cool. Shared universe, and it's as a big Alan Wake fan, I am super excited. Plus,
do you think they'll cross mix the mechanics?
I don't know.
That could be quite cool.
But I mean, Alan Wake, the rights just got back to Remedy, so everyone's excited. Like, maybe they're gonna make the second one, and now it makes more economical sense because it's not tied just to the Microsoft / PC platform. It can go to PS4 and whatnot.
I know you would love a second Alan Wake.
Well, yes, I would. I also would love a remaster of the first one plus the expansion pack on
which I guess
Xbox One, or maybe on the next.
There's more of a possibility of that happening now, though, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
They say that like AWE, it's their altered world events.
Yeah.
But everyone online, because of the tease within the photo, is like, no, it's called the Alan Wake expansion.
Yeah. Alan Wake expansion. I like that.
That's what AWE is standing for here, and I mean it looks like a really blatant, like they're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Yes, they're gonna cross it over with Alan Wake in some way, which that's awesome.
Have you guys played Control yet?
No, I really want to. But
you guys got to play it. Like
I'm first gonna play Borderlands 3 though.
Yeah,
that's my first purchase.
The gameplay mechanics are fantastic.
I gotta get through my 1,000 hours of Borderlands.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with video games. It's tough. It's not like
you need time.
Movies and TV shows. I mean, movies is the easiest, right? You watch a 2-hour movie,
you're done.
That's it.
Yeah.
TV shows a little more in depth. Let's say it's a 10-episode series. That's 10 hours. Okay, that's more investment there.
Yeah.
Video games. I mean, this Control games. I've already spent like 13, 14 hours on it. I'm not done yet. And plus, I skipped a lot of the side missions, which after I'm done with the game, I'll probably go back and
revisit.
Is it like open world, or is it kind of like...
No, it's not open world. It's definitely on a path, but
very linear.
But you can go on side missions.
Okay.
That they assign you some side missions that you can choose to do or not. So, but it's definitely... I mean, Remedy games are it's not like a Red Dead Redemption where it's so big and open. This all takes place in one building. I mean, it has different levels to the buildings, and each level has its different paths and it's different so it is an expansive game, but still it's all contained in this one.
Got it.
But the control scheme is fantastic. Being able to throw things with telekinesis at people, being able to
force.
Yeah, it's basically like the Force. You could throw up a shield. You also can levitate. You can It's very cool gameplay mechanics.
On the topic of people owning IPs or getting control of the game back, you know what I noticed the other day? I was looking everywhere for Arkham Origins, and on PS4, and I could find literally all the previous Arkham games were re-released on the PS4, but not Arkham Origins.
Yes.
I wonder, was it a different company for that?
I think that's so. WB Montreal are the ones who made Batman Arkham Origins.
Oh, okay.
Whereas like Rocksteady made the main trilogy, and so like Arkham Knight was exclusive to the next gen.
Yeah.
And then there was a Arkham Remaster for the first two, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Arkham Revisited.
People have been really asking for Arkham Origins to get remastered or at least like ported in some way to the next gen consoles, and I agree. I think Arkham Origins is so underrated.
Didn't it come out at a bad time? Didn't it come out just before the next generation of consoles?
Yeah, so it kind of came out. Well, actually, no. Well, I can't remember now. I'm trying to remember.
It was a while ago, yeah.
But I think it wasn't at the best time, and I think the issue was it came out after Arkham City.
Yeah.
And Arkham City is like
amazing.
The holy grail of superhero video games, you know? So it's so difficult to top that. So because they had to live up to that expectation, people didn't think it to be very good because it wasn't as good as Arkham City.
Yeah.
But I still think so many people overlook a lot of the qualities of that game. The writing,
the combat was great as well, man.
Yeah, the boss fights are awesome. There's so many of them. There's a lot that's really great.
They do have it on their streaming service, oddly enough, like on the PS Now streaming service.
Yeah. And
but that's still that's the PS3
Xbox
version though that you're streaming, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So I do hope it gets some sort of remaster. But then again, like all the rumors are pointing to WB Montreal working on another Batman game, and it's only inevitable that they're going to announce what the hell they're working on sometime soon.
Yeah, I only bring that up because I was playing Arkham Knight again recently because it's free on PlayStation this month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, same with Darksiders 3, also free this month.
Damn, yeah, if you have PlayStation Now,
that's a good month for PlayStation Now. Nice. I'll say that, yeah.
So our next story, we got Ubisoft, the CEO, in an interview, they asked if the company would return to making shorter games, and when he means shorter, he means 15-hour games.
Like Assassin's Creed. What was it?
Unity.
Yes.
Where Creed Odyssey was like 60 hours, and that's why I still haven't finished it.
At first, I thought they meant like indie games or something, you know. But I don't know.
I mean, what do you guys think of this? Like, is it a good idea to do this or not? Like, it's funny because it's like, if I'd be done with Odyssey now if it was only 15 hours.
True, yeah.
But
it's like 60, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I think this is good.
Okay.
I think, you look at a company like Rockstar Games and what they've done, they take years between their properties. You know, there's rumors about a Bully 2 which would have come out over a decade since the first Bully game, you know? So like they take quite a bit of time between their games, and you can clearly tell because of all that time that they take, it generates a really quality game. GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, you know, even going back to like Grand Theft Auto 4 or the first Red Dead Redemption, they take their time with their games, they make them really big and you know, like ton of hours you got to sink into them. And I think that Ubisoft found similar success there with Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Specifically the past two, yeah.
They're still updating it and people are still playing it because obviously, you know, they got to fund those updates somehow, and I'm assuming it's because they got quite a player base there. So, I mean, good for them. If they don't want to go back to churning out an Assassin's Creed game every single year,
which is good,
maybe not getting the best game out
because
of it.
All the glitches.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm having flashbacks. They were like, I can't remember which Assassin's Creed it was I played, and literally, like, one of the characters I walked up to just had eyeballs. His skin didn't load in.
I can't remember which one that was either.
Was that Unity?
I know what you're talking about. That was the one I think that where they drew the line. They were like, okay, we really screwed up.
Yeah, man, that was intense.
You can't keep up that schedule. I mean, a AAA title once a year, like.
How much time is spent in production? How much time is spent marketing?
I think people are cracking down a little bit more too on just game development in general. A lot more people are coming forward regarding crunch time and, you know, the amount of stress that people have been, you know, brought onto them as being game developers because of this landscape. You know, I think it has a little bit to do with the consumers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are like, give me the games now. You know, it also has to do with some other games and the business models around them. You look at games like Call of Duty and the massive success that they have every single year, and you kind of want to see if there's a way to replicate that with your games. So because more people are coming forward and they're like, listen, this is brutal. Crunch time is horrible. We're working insane hours we never should be working, and it's not worth risking our mental health for it. And more people to the public eye are starting to realize this. So I think because that stigma is starting, like that dark cloud is starting to form around the games industry, they're starting to take more time with the games. We're starting to see a lot more of a development process between games, you know, and I think that's better for everyone at the end of the day. Yes, I got to wait an extra year for the next Assassin's Creed, but does that, you know, that makes the world of a difference.
I guess for me, who doesn't have as much time to play games as I used to, is a good thing, because then I can wait and play games in the meantime.
I mean, you'd have like a whole year and a half to do that 60 hours, you know?
Exactly, versus like, get lost, you know, caught behind on stuff, right? If let's say there's Assassin's Creed that came out every single year and each one was like
60 hours. It'd be like, if you have a full-time job, you still probably wouldn't have finished the previous one by the next one comes out.
So it's just much better to at least for me personally, to have these like longer games, but have them come out less frequently.
I prefer that as well. I think they found great success with, Assassin's Creed Black Flag was one of my favorite Assassin's Creeds of all time. Besides, Assassin's Creed 2 is my favorite story-wise. But gameplay-wise, man, I don't think I cared about the Assassin's Creed 4 story. I was just out there on my ship, messing up other ships, man. Like, the naval combat was so amazing. And specifically with the past two games, Odyssey and Origins, they did a really good job, like you said, of doing amazing DLCs for those games and keeping people coming back, spending more money as well, and not just microtransactions, like genuinely like paying like $20 for a good DLC, you know? That's worth it.
I mean, I saw like on IGN, Odyssey actually has their highest review score out of all of them. That's the latest one. And also, I would have finished Odyssey. The only problem was Red Dead Redemption 2 came out literally like a month later, right?
Yeah.
So then I jumped over and did my 80 hours on there. But if that hadn't happened, I would have finished Odyssey, which I plan on going back to as well. I mean, I actually kind of, Outer Worlds is coming out too. I mean,
oh snap!
Yeah, in October.
Oh, that's next month. Oh, so hell yeah!
Plus the Destiny expansion. It's a busy month.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with video games. They always stack the end of the year, right?
Especially during the fall. Like that's when a lot of games will come out. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm very excited for Outer Worlds.
Yeah. So next topic, we got Apple Arcade launches this September, $5 a month. This was announced at the big Apple conference where they announced new iPhones, iPads, their television service, which is I think only $5 as well. But as far as the arcade games, I watched the trailer. I looked at it. It's like it looks cool. They aren't really going for this hardcore gamer audience. Yeah. Like you're looking at the games, a lot of side scroll, a lot of cool artistic visuals.
A lot of indie.
But a lot of indie stuff. Yeah. I saw even like a Sonic the Hedgehog in 3D game. But I didn't see, it's not like for people who like playing FPSs or
for $5 a month, which is a great deal. I think it's definitely more of like a family system setup that they've got going.
Yes, I didn't see super violent games. It was very artistic, very visual. My question is there enough of a demand from the casual / family oriented side for this to be successful?
I personally think that I wouldn't even think it's about the demand because it's $5 a month. So many families, and it has an offline mode up to up to 6 family members can use the arcade. Most people aren't going to notice that $5 a month, like exiting their account.
That's true.
I'd imagine people are going to get the service and forget they even have it, and pay for it for years. You know what I mean?
And this could be good for like the kids.
For sure,
an iPad or whatever it might be. Just hand it off to the kid and let him go nuts with whatever games are available in the library there. Because it's a lot of indie games. It's a lot of, family-friendly looking games. So I think that's great. I mean, yeah, it's only $5 a month. I'm not sure if they're going to find a crazy amount of success to it, but I wonder if they find enough success to warrant funding it. And I think that will be possible.
I mean, I saw like there's people using like a PS4 controller with their iPad playing the game, and Xbox controller with
I
iPad.
know the PS4 has the PS4 controllers has Bluetooth, so you can connect it to your phone, iPad, whatever, your iPhone even. You know what I mean? I think it accepts most controllers that have Bluetooth, which is good.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of wait and see. I personally am going to hold off on subscribing to something like this until I hear, oh, this game's awesome. This game's awesome.
Exactly. Or there's specific games I want to play.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you should play this one. Or just because I've got so much, so many games I still need to play or still want to play.
I do like the fact that it's like your gameplay saves, so you can be playing on your phone or whatever, and you're like, you go home, you want to switch to your TV, plug in your Apple TV, and you just carry on where you left off.
Yeah, these aren't like super graphically intensive games on purpose, so that they can be played on the phone, on the iPad, and on your Apple TV, so that you.
Which is a smart choice,
Yeah.
And also, there's so much, considering they're less resource intensive, that so many more iPhone models you can get it on, so many more iPad models, I mean, it being in 150 countries / regions, I think it's going to be good for some of the more like rural countries. You know what I mean? As depending on how good the offline support is, I guess.
All right, next one. I brought this one up just because I want to rail on this again. So everyone knows Shenmue 3 is coming out, after, a long period long delay. It's going to be on the PS4. It started off, with a Kickstarter. Basically, at that time, they for the PC version, they were like, okay, they had mentioned that it was going to be on Steam. They signed an exclusive deal with Epic Games for the Epic Store, and now the developer is saying, hey, look, if you were a Kickstarter supporter and you don't want to get on the Epic Game Store instead, and you want it on Steam, and now you can't get on Steam, we will give your money back. It's a 2-week window on the refund. We've talked about this before.
It's
I forgot.
So silly.
I think we talked this about some other developer where they got like yelled at by fans because they. What the hell? Like, I don't understand this.
I spoke to a friend who's a developer recently about why he prefers the Epic Game Store. So I know that they get a bigger cut.
Yes.
For sure. Whereas like Steam, especially if you go through their Greenlight service, Steam takes up to I think 40% of your profit.
Oh, really?
That's if you go through their Greenlight service.
Okay, I know normally it's 30%.
Yeah, but the Greenlight service, I know that works a bit differently. That kind of screws you over. So I get where they're coming from a developer point of view. But once again, the exact same argument I made last time, from the consumer point of view, it changes nothing.
People are joking like you're clicking a different icon on your screen.
That's the only thing that you're doing. You're downloading the Epic Games launcher instead of the Steam launcher, which is, I believe, less resource intensive as well on your computer.
I just don't get it. It's not like buying a whole other system, right? And people aren't complaining about PS4 exclusives or Xbox One exclusives.
People want
you have to pay $500, $400, $300 for a brand new system if you want to play that. But no one's crying about that. But people are crying about pressing, downloading one little piece of software and clicking an icon.
Stupid. And you can have both. No one's stopping you from having the Epic Game Store and the Steam Store. I have both. It's, oh my God, it's so silly.
This topic it's starting to frustrate me more. This whole battle against Epic Games is starting to frustrate me a little more, because it's just, the game needs a Kickstarter to be funded. So think about this. As a PC gamer, wrap your head around this really quick. They've created a Kickstarter for Shenmue 3 because it needs to be funded in some way. Now, you get an offer from Steam where they're going to take more of the profit off of your game sales. You get an offer from Epic Games where they're going to take less of a profit off of your game sales. As the game that needs to be funded by Kickstarter, where do you go?
Of course. And then also, you're not losing your PC player base. You know what I mean? I guess a couple of diehard Steam boys, but still.
But that's what I don't get. Let me tell people as an old school gamer, before Steam, people used to buy games games at the store on CDs, and then
desktops used to have a disc.
and floppy disks and CDs, and then they would install them on their PCs, and that was it.
There was an activation code.
There was no Steam. There was no Epic Game Store. There was nothing. Steam is something that just makes things easier, right? People to aggregate their stuff.
And look,
cool, that's fine. If you like Steam more than Epic, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But to be like so upset that the game that you wanted to get
and you're not going to get it anymore for that
is on
reason?
the other. Like I could understand if it was like a paid thing. Like you're upset, like I got to pay more now. Like if Epic had like some sort of like you had to pay for their software, then I can understand being upset because it's like, oh, now I got to pay extra.
Well, the refunds would have made sense to me if you were like, I want the PC version, and then they were like, hey, we're not releasing the PC anymore. Are you okay with an Xbox version?
Yeah, of course.
That would make sense to me. But like...
To kind of get perspective on it, the way that I think about this is back when Spider-Man PS4 was initially announced and, officially announced to be PlayStation exclusive, I was pretty upset about that. The way that my thought process was Spider-Man's such a huge IP, why limit it to one console, right? But the more that I think about it, and now going back to this topic, and if I could speak to my younger self, I would say, well, Spider-Man PS4 wouldn't exist without PlayStation. They're the ones who funds Insomniac and allowed the game to be made. They purchased the rights to it to allow it to be made. No PlayStation, no Spider-Man game at all. Forget the fact about it being on both consoles or it being on the PC and the Xbox One and everything. It just wouldn't exist.
The fact that it was Sony must have helped as well, though.
And then at least you're, speaking to your younger self, at least your younger self was thinking of, okay, there's an extra cost involved if you don't own a PlayStation, right? You got to purchase the PlayStation to play it. That limits it. If you have a PC that is capable of running Shenmue 3, there's no difference.
It's so silly.
Process in terms of buying an additional PC or something like that. You get the software.
Here's why I don't get why people complain about the Epic Game Store at all, just in general. Because the thing is, it's competition to Steam, right? And that is so I'm welcoming that. That's so good because Steam was essentially a monopoly. It's a monopoly. So it's nice that Epic Games can come in there and change it up a bit because it's going to make Steam do improvements. Steam's going to look at the Epic Game Store and be like, oh crap, I guess we can't be so shitty anymore. I guess we got to actually make some good changes in the store. Because at that point in time, it was like, as much as people were complaining, Steam was like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, huh? There's no other alternative.
Yes. So I think this is whatever. I mean, it's
and at the end of the day, it's just a very loud minority. I
exactly.
Think for the most part, if people are really excited for Shenmue 3 and they want to play it, and they're a PC gamer,
and they've pledged money,
being on the Epic Game Store is not going to.
I don't see the.
Like you've already paid for it,
Yeah. I'm just wondering how many people actually took them up on the offer.
I mean, it's the 2-week gap as well. Like, I'm going to assume most people are going to forget about it and not care.
I would say the only people actually going to return them or want the refund is people who pre-ordered and decide they just don't want to play the game anymore, and not really a Steam not a Steam or Unreal or Epic thing. They were just like, you know what? I thought I wanted to play it. Now it's been so long, I don't want to anymore.
Yeah, it changed my mind.
It changed my mind. All right, last topic before we get into our top 5 games, or we don't have to do top 5. Our favorite games of all time. GameStop closing 200 stores, underperforming stores worldwide. We've talked about this before. They said that they have 5,700. They have that many stores, 5,700 stores worldwide that are profitable. 95% of them are profitable. So they're closing these 200 stores. I know Game Informer had shut down. That was another thing. A lot of people from the executive level, regional district field leaders were laid off. So obviously there's a lot of growing pain, or not growing pains, but like trying to survival pains here, which makes sense. When you're competing against people like Amazon, you're competing against the Xbox digital store, right? People are buying that stuff.
Any digital store
in any platform. You're competing against Gamer Pass, right? Because now people are like, well, do I have to go buy or rent that game or buy a used copy? Yeah. No, I'll just pay whatever the monthly fee is and I'll go play that game. So it's tough.
I know a while back they were thinking of, well, I guess now they've just decided to close down those underperforming stores, but I know a while back they were thinking of turning them into more novelty stores. You know what I mean? Like selling more novelty items, more clothing.
I mean, to be honest, I go to GameStop to buy mystery minis or Funko Pops or whatever, or used games or accessories, but I don't buy like the games, like AAA titles from them on opening day anymore. I order them online or I buy them digitally.
Have the digital copy so you don't have to worry about it. No, same here. I go in there for either secondhand games, maybe some cool like t-shirts or like a beanie or something cool, and then on the off chance, usually equipment. Like if my headset breaks and I don't want to wait 3 days from Amazon, I just walk in, pick it up, walk out.
Yeah.
Or even referbished,
I mean, I do miss the days, but I mean, those days are gone of like going there opening night of a game.
Yeah. Man, I miss those. I do genuinely miss those.
I think the last one I went to was like, I want to say like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2 or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Or maybe it was Black Ops.
Grand Theft Auto 5 was my last midnight release I did.
Yeah.
My last one was No Man's Sky. Could you imagine my disappointment? Could you imagine? I was so stoked. I was in a line full of people. We were all talking about it. We're like, oh, I can't wait to go through a black hole and all these exciting things. And then I get there that night. There were people over at my house. I remember Jack being like, hey, we have guests over. You got to talk to them. I was like, no. I've been waiting years to play this game. I play it, and then 2 hours later, I leave my room, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so those days are gone.
This is unfortunate. I will say it's just unfortunate because, GameStop was always GameStop. It was just like, you go there and you get your games. But they've done some shady things.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really unfortunate what happened with Game Informer, and I'm wishing all the folks who unfortunately lost their job from
the
Game
writers.
Informer But I guess this is the trend we're heading to. It looks like soon enough there might not be a GameStop anymore, and it's because of these digital stores. It's because a lot of people are buying their games digitally now.
Think about it this way: Apple stores now, there isn't that people waiting in line. They're waking up early in the morning or to pre-order stuff online, but they're not waiting.
They're not leaving their house.
Going to the stores.
People are lazy.
It's true.
If they're either doing that or they're using their Amazon to get a hold of the games. And it is what it is. It's unfortunate. I still do like the novelty of owning the actual copy of the game,
especially if you're limited on space.
Yeah, but it's a lot more convenient to me to not have to get up and switch around the discs and all this, that, and the other when I want to jump from one game to another on my Xbox.
And you don't have to worry about losing them when you move or anything,
Yeah.
I know that the GameStop that I go to just up the road from me, they're doing very well. They're one of those profitable GameStops, and I think the one in Hollywood is pretty profitable too.
Yeah, there probably still will be a couple left. I'm sure. I mean, I don't know what Canada, what the effect would be like in Canada, like because it's not even called GameStop here in Canada. It's called EB Games. And like for instance, like Toys R Us shut down for the U.S. I think we still have Toys R Us here in Canada. Like
we still have it in South Africa as well. We have like all the big ones. Like we have Babies R Us, like one of their. They're like other ones. Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be a huge impact here, but I wouldn't be surprised if over these next couple of months, years, you're just going to hear more and more now that GameStop's. Some stores.
They should focus more on merchandising.
I agree.
Things that you really need to look and feel and touch in there, or be.
Some of their merchandising is really cool. Honestly, I think that they should really push that. I still see GameStop doing well in more like the rural places. The reason why game stores still do well in South Africa is because there are some places that don't have.
Super good
internet. Just good internet. Some people are still on like 1 megabyte, 2 megabyte lines. You know what I mean? You're not gonna you're not gonna wait like 2 days for it to download, where you can just go drive 5 minutes down to the store and go pick it up.
All right, that's the end of the topic. So let's get into our favorite games of all time. We don't, I said 5, but let's just throw out some of your favorite games. Let's start with you, Caboose.
Okay, so immediately, because we've been talking about Borderlands, one that comes to mind. So Borderlands 2 definitely up there.
Okay.
Borderlands 2, amazing. Even Borderlands 1, I love. I mean, it's not, when you go back to it, it feels dated. Like when the Game of the Year edition came out and it was remastered.
But it was so fresh when that came out.
I was like, man, this game is really gray compared to how colorful you think Borderlands is because of Borderlands 2. So Borderlands 2 definitely up there. Love that game. It means so much to me in just my love for games growing up. And then Tales from the Borderlands as well, to kind of piggyback off that. Oh my God. But Tales from the Borderlands, seriously, I cannot recommend enough. If you're planning on getting into Borderlands 3 and you're a huge fan of the franchise, invest some time into Tales from the Borderlands. You will not regret it. It has some of the best storyline or some of the best storytelling out of all the Telltale games. It's got like each episode has an amazing little intro to it that's supposed to be very Borderlands style. Oh my, it's so good.
I do agree with you. I think it's the best Telltale series that they have.
Yeah, for me, is. Without a doubt, for me, it is. And then obviously Batman Arkham City. That game is just an absolute masterpiece. The best superhero game still for me. I mean, Spider-Man definitely comes close, but Arkham City is for sure for me the number one superhero game of all time. Still, the voice acting from Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, it's the best they've done with those characters, bar none. There's so much great about that game. And then I like to think of games like Halo. When I was growing up, that was kind of one of the first games I got into competitively. So Halo 2, Halo 3, really near and dear to my heart. But it's hard for me to sit down and say this is my top 5, because there are so many games that are like just so good, and some of them that have very very sentimental value to me that may not necessarily be, the best game, but they have sentimental value. And then obviously very recently, or not recently, actually almost a year ago, which is crazy to think about, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah. That's in mind.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. Sorry to take yours, but
no, that's fine. No, I was gonna say Red Dead Redemption 2 is which is funny because I was so not negative on the first one because I actually liked it, but I was disappointed in the first one because I didn't live up to what I thought it could be. And Red Dead 2 lived up to all that.
Red Dead Revolver?
No, Red Dead Redemption, like the first one.
Yeah. So for me, it's hard because you're like thinking about ones that were influenced you, and it's weird because the games just keep getting like more and more advanced technology-wise. Like, so one of my favorite games of all time is Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh yes,
which the storyline was fantastic. Look, the combat wasn't the best because it was a fake real time. It was actually turn-based, but they made it look like. If it was more real time, would I have liked it better? Yeah, sure.
Did you know you can get it on your phone now?
Yeah, I bought it on the iPad.
Yeah,
and I played some of it. But it's cool. That's one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, it could use a graphical facelift, but I wouldn't want anything to change about the story and the characters. And
the story is perfect, yeah.
And the RPG elements, it's just the UI and some of the battle, which was fun at the time. I mean, if you can get me to play a turn-based game, it must mean you're pretty good. Fallout 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, just going into that world. And then Mass Effect 2, which is, the whole Mass Effect series, because, BioWare, they made Knights of the Old Republic. They just took that...
Yeah.
Basically the structure of that and then applied it, just like the way that Bethesda did that with their Elder Scrolls game and did it to Fallout. Red Dead 2 we talked about. StarCraft. When we talked about video game addiction, I think that
I was going to bring up StarCraft as well.
That was the game that I had the biggest addiction to. It was probably a year where it was like almost nonstop of like, I had a girlfriend at the time that literally like I was just eating and sleeping and then getting up and playing StarCraft. And it was me and my friends. It was like we'd either play online or we'd play 2v2 against each other. And it was just nonstop. And that's what I'm saying. It's a game that never ends, much like World of Warcraft, which I purposely didn't buy. Even though I knew I would like it, did not buy it. I purposely did not buy StarCraft 2. Because I was like...
I was playing it earlier this week. I'm still playing StarCraft.
Because I'm like, I don't want to get so addicted that my life,
Eat, breathe, and love.
Yeah, there's so much, as much as, if I could freeze time and just play those games, sure, that'd be great. But there's so much other stuff to do. And yeah, Halo franchise, love that. I think Halo 3 is probably my favorite one out of that franchise. But the first one definitely has a place in my heart because I remember playing that one so much. Half-Life 1 and 2, Alan Wake. What about you, Josh?
I was going to say a couple of similar ones. The ones that come to mind, I'd say the ones that were the most influential to me in my life, starting off with Warcraft 3. Just played so much Dota on Warcraft 3. I mean, like, in my opinion, that's where most MOBAs got their start, was on Warcraft as like a mod or a map on Warcraft. So Warcraft 3, right up there, and then Counter-Strike 1.6, which was obviously a mod for Half-Life.
Counter-Strike I was pretty addicted to as well.
I still play. I play a lot of CS:GO. I play a lot of Counter-Strike. I used to spend hours as a kid, like getting my computer to a friend, setting up a LAN, just playing Counter-Strike and Warcraft. Obviously, Half-Life 2, one of my favorite games of all time as well. So yeah, those games played a big role on me. Played a lot of the first StarCraft, but I played a lot of StarCraft too. Like I said, I was playing it earlier this week. Yeah. Not competitively though, because funny enough, I don't really enjoy the competitive aspects, but I've replayed the story.
Oh, interesting.
Like I've replayed. I'm playing Legacy of the Void for like the 8th time in my life right now. It's so I love that. And then more recently, I'd say the new God of War game, one of my all-time favorites.
So good.
Yeah.
Wow, I forgot about that one.
Oh yeah, like that deserved the 10 out of 10. And then also God of War 3, just because I replayed that game so many times. Yeah, those definitely, I'd say. And then I guess I can't. I have a love-hate relationship with this game, but I guess I have to bring it up because of how many hours I put into it. But Diablo 3, I've clocked hundreds and hundreds of hours into that game just because I like the mindless violence of it all, I guess.
I mean, that's the thing is those games never end. And then and Blizzard,
they really don't.
I mean, Blizzard is the king of that. That's why they made so much money. Is like they're like, oh, how do we make a game that people really like and get addicted to, but it never ends? And then so they'll keep buying more. I remember all the expansion packs for StarCraft, right? That they would include a mission thing, but then also add something different to it. Yeah. And then when you played online, like you had to choose, like, were you going to play the regular StarCraft or are you going to play StarCraft with, this expansion? Because I remember, like, the lurkers. Yeah. They didn't have the lurkers in the first StarCraft. Yeah. And they just add that and.
Yeah, they added a lot of elements in StarCraft 2 to change up some of the creeps and stuff. Really cool. And I still can't believe. I guess it doesn't affect them that much nowadays, but I feel like Blizzard must have felt a little silly when they turned down Dota. When Dota was like, hey, look, we want to release a proper full-on game with your guys' support, seeing as we've used your assets for years. And they were like, nah, we're making our own MOBA. And then now Dota 2 is definitely more popular than Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah. Didn't Valve turn down Counter-Strike?
I think so, yeah, for CS:GO. Maybe. No, I think that they did take it, didn't they?
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
remember there was some similar story where something got turned down.
That could have been League of Legends, because I know League of Legends got turned down by a lot of people, and now it's just its own.
That's right.
With Riot Games, it's its own epic thing,
So. All right, guys. That's it for this episode of the Collider Games podcast. Thanks for joining us. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at josh.toki.
And Caboose?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CabooseEK.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. Also subscribe to the Collider Factory podcast feed. That's where you find this podcast every single week. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Later.